Okay, so going back po sa ating well logging, an overview. No, last meeting, I introduced already the concept of this well logging in an open hole scenario. Po. So, pag sinabi nga po nating open hole logging, ano po yun? Recap muna tayo. Tarayo.
Hello po ma'am, audible po ba?
Yes, Neng, loud and clear.
Kapag po open hole logging, sabi niyo po acquisition of data po siya, process of collecting well-logged data from a wellbore that has not yet been cased po.
Okay, that's as simple as that. Ano po, uncased wellbore. We perform a well logging no, in a wellbore which is uncased. Na po. So we have two methods na ginagamit in an open hole logging. Ano nga po yung dalawa? And could you please give the distinct difference, Mr. Pastrana?
Ma'am, audible po ba?
Yes.
Ang two
Nakikisama yung
methods po ng
connection.
open hole drilling is yung wireline drilling at yung logging well drilling po. Sa wireline drilling po, ginagawa po siya after ng drilling. Pinemeasure po nito yung mga parameters like porosity, fluid, content, and such po. While logging well drilling naman po, ginagawa po ito during drilling. Minemeasure po nito yung formation properties like resistivity, porosity, density, ganun po such.
Okay. So, based on that, ano po, ang ating wireline logging performed after. No, after drilling, as you can see sa ating diagram, no po, clean halos yung ating wellbore. No, ang nandun lang sa ating loob ng ating wellbore is the logging tool natin through a wireline cable. No? So, yun ang ginagamit natin, wireline cable, para ma-penetrate natin yung ating wellbore. While in logging while drilling, of course, performed during drilling natin. So, that's why we still have the drill string. Yung ating tool or that sensors po ay nakakabit lang within the drill string. Common po is within your bit or above that bit. So, these are the two methods commonly performed or used in an open hole logging process po natin. Ano pa? So, for suitability, ang ating wireline logging po is suitable for a detailed information evaluation, especially kung ang ating reservoir ay kinakailangan natin is a high resolution data, no, pag required. While the LWD, no, that is more on ideal for a real-time decision making, especially po no, during optimization of your drilling operations. But of course, na po parehas po nating methods ay may kanya-kanyang advantages and limitations, and the choice between them depends on the specific goals of the engineers or this geologist na po and the conditions of that well po natin. Aside from our LWD na po, mayroon rin din tayong another real-time process which is the MWD. Ano naman po yung kaibahan ng ating MWD sa ating LWD? Yes, Marian?
Yung MWD po or measurement while drilling, nakafocus po siya sa drilling parameters tulad ng azimuth, ang inclination po, and yung drilling dynamics po. So more on for drilling po talaga siya sa wellbore placement and prevents drilling hazard po. So ang MWD po is more on drilling the well, while sa logging while drilling po, focus po siya sa formation evaluation. So yung mga petrophysical properties po, tulad ng porosity, permeability, and more on understanding the reservoir po siya.
Okay. So that's very simple ano, katulad nga ng sinabi ni Marian. MWD is about drilling the well. So whatever parameters na kinakailangan natin no to optimize the drilling operations, kayang ma-provide ng ating MWD. So, while sa LWD, that is more on understanding the reservoir, especially during your formation evaluation. So simple as that, parehas po silang real time kasi term itself while drilling, 'di ba? While drilling, so you perform that logging operation while drilling po. Na? So, wala na, malinaw na ng husto sa atin pag sinabi nating open hole logging and the methods na ginagamit natin. So, now, we have this in an open hole. No, wait lang po. I-move ko lang yung ating. Katulad nga ng sa ating diagram, no, this open hole data is gathered through a range of logging tools such as resistivity. Yan po yung mga naka-blue, no, color blue na yan, highlighted ng blue natin. So this data, no, gathered through a range of logging tools natin na of course, no, we are utilizing various principles of physics. No, ito po yung gagamit tayo dito ng principles of physics in order to measure the properties of the surrounding rock natin and fluids within that wellbore. So bakit ko nasabi? Para mag-gather natin, no, para ma-measure natin yung ating mga formation properties katulad ng mga naka-green na yan, yung rock type, porosity, permeability, fluid volume, formation caps up to fractures. Actually, marami pang iba po. Iilan lang yan sa mga properties, sa mga petrophysical parameters na kayang ibigay sa atin ng ating mga open hole logs with the application ng ating mga tinatawag na principles of physics. Katulad po ng sa resistivity. Unahin natin ang sa resistivity. The tools employed use physical principles. Na any idea po ba based sa inyong napanood na video, ano po ba itong resistivity logging natin? Sige nga po. And iti-try natin intindihin bakit sinasabi na utilizing the principle of physics here. Yes, Prince?
Bale, from what I resistivity log, ang minimeasure niya ay electrical currents. And since magkakaiba po yung resistivity ng water at ng hydrocarbon, nadi-distinguish na po yung water-bearing sa hydrocarbon-bearing zone since taas yung resistivity ng hydrocarbon kaysa water.
Okay. Diba? Simple as this tool measures the ability of that formation to conduct electricity. And alam naman natin yung relationship ng conductivity at saka ng ating resistivity. Diba? The high ang conductivity mo, the lower ng isa. So, vice versa sila. So, through that, sabi nga ni Prince, kaya natin ngayong ma-identify kung saan yung ating hydrocarbon-bearing formation sa non-water-bearing formation. Na po? So, another one, katulad po sa ating mga nuclear principles, mga nuclear or this NMR, no? Yung gumagamit tayo ng nuclear principles, katulad ng gamma ray, ng neutron, ng ating mga porosity lags. Halos kung mapapansin po ninyo, yung ating mga porosity lags, yung family na yan ng logging tools ay gumagamit sila ng tinatawag nating nuclear principles. Any idea po, at least isa sa tatlong ito, paano naman yung sinasabing nuclear principles? Ano po ba? No, katulad sa neutron or sa density. Ano po ba yung principle ng measurement nila?
Sean Gabriel.
Sorry for that. Any idea po? Excuse po. What is it? That's too much. That's too much. Excuse po. That's too much. 2 hours. At least 1 hour lang, anak. Later. May klase pa po si mama. Later po. Okay? 1 hour. That is non-negotiable. 1 hour only. You need to rest. Come on, may klase pa si mama. Later. Afternoon, sa afternoon. Later na. Bye-bye. Any idea po for these nuclear principles, katulad po sa ating gamma ray, neutron, and density logs? Ano po ba yung minimeasure ng ating neutron? O sa neutron man lang, sa napanood yung video. Naka-off po ba ako? Yes, Marian.
Yung sa neutron log po, dinodetect na po yung hydrogen. Kapag mas marami pong hydrogen, mas mataas po yung porosity.
Yes. 'Di ba hindi siya, sabi ko nga sa inyo, not direct measurement ang ginagawa niya. So kinakailangan natin yung different relationship ng ating mga parameters na dito. So ibibigay niya 'yon, no, yung insight lang nun about that lithology and porosity through that measurement of our hydrogen. Same as sa ating density, 'di ba? Ang sa ating density, about the electron density, the bulk density, ang kanyang binibigay. So through that, no, kaya nating ma-determine yung ating lithology and porosity. Hihimayin po natin yan sa ating chapter 4. Ini-introduce ko pa lang po sa inyo yung overview niya. How about this acoustic? Katulad sa ating mga sonic lugs. Ano naman po yung principles of physics na ginagamit natin dito? Sa napanood po natin na video. Lahat po ba ay nakapanood na? Yes, Miss Olamit.
Ma'am, yung sonic lag daw po, it generates sound pulse daw po. It travel time measured by receivers at distance, and the travel time or the transit velocity relates to porosity po. By subtracting the sonic porosity from neutron porosity, it can separate intergranular and vagular porosities. Combined with lithology data from SPNGR, it yields more accurate total porosity po.
Okay, so in simple words po natin, ito mga sonic lags po, travel time, the delta T po. Kasi mag-i-emit po tayo, may source po tayo, no, ng sound. So, magta-travel po yung sound wave from that source sa ating, anong tawag natin sa ating tool, magta-travel po yan sa ating formation. Ngayon, kung naalala niyo sa physics ninyo, di ba, kung saan mas mabilis nagta-travel ang sound, pag nagpe-penetrate siya sa media na with fluid, or kung wala, kung porous or solid mismo. So, dun po yan. Magbabounce back yan. So, kung sino yung pinakamabilis, thank you. Doon po natin madidetermine yung ating lithology na po through this measurement of delta T. Kung yung travel, sound waves travel through that formation. So, madidetect po ng sa detectors. Of course, makikita mo yan yung pulse kung sino yung pinakamabilis bumalik saan. So, doon natin maalalaman yung specific lithology and the mechanical properties of our rocks. So, ito po, na principles we use, no, some principle of physics. So, interpreting these measurements, of course, na allows, again, to assess the reservoir rocks and the fluid properties, no, na nagiging guide natin through this decision making natin. Questions po? Questions? Malinaw po ba yung ating mga na-discuss? Okay, now let's proceed sa ating invasion profile. I know na-discuss ko na ito during our petrophysics, but let's try to refresh na po ng idea natin about this invasion profile. Na po. How this invasion profile can affect our interpretation. Sige nga po. Kasi yung isa sa importante nito, no, na naiintindihan natin yung ating invasion profile na ito, no, especially pag tayo ay nagki-create or we can create this resistivity profile, no, nalalaman natin yung hangganan, no, yung hangganan kung saang depth, no, ng ating formation yung naabot, sabi nga natin, na penetrate ng ating invading fluid. Ano po ba yung ating invading fluid? No? Sa invading fluid po natin, that is our drilling fluid. Part of that drilling fluid, the liquid part ng ating drilling fluid na siyang nag-penetrate sa ating mga permeable formations. And yung kung maging severe yan, Yung lost circulation na yan, ang ating tinatawag. And pag hindi natin makontrol, that is a formation damage. Kabaliktaran yan ng ating kick or worst blowout. Yung scenario niyan. During drilling, you're aware naman po, na aware tayo na during drilling, may tinatawag po tayong hydrostatic pressure. Ito pong hydrostatic pressure natin that is exerted sa ating mud column. Yung in-exert ng ating mud column sa wellbore po natin. Combination of that mud column, kung ano man yung nasa loob ng ating wellbore, mud column, and with the drill string. Familiar naman po tayo sa ating drill string. Alam naman natin yung main purpose, katulad po ng ating main purpose. Sabi ko nga last time, ang main purpose po ng ating drill collar is to add weight on that bit. So kabilang na po yun. Sa hydrostatic pressure natin, that is the exerted on that mud column. And during drilling operation, this is the rule of thumb, during drilling operation, typically po, kinakailangan nating ma-maintain yung ating hydrostatic pressure must be slightly greater than to that pore pressure or the formation pressure natin. Para lang ma-prevent po natin yung tinatawag nating unwanted fluid flow. Ano po ba yung unwanted fluid flow natin, such as ng ating hydrocarbon sa ating wellbore? So halimbawa po, yung sabi ko nga initially, magkakaroon tayo ng sign yan yung sa kick natin. Pag halimbawa ay mas tumaas na, mas nagiging mataas na yung ating formation pressure, hindi na nai-impede ng ating hydrostatic pressure yung formation pressure natin or this pore pressure. So paano na siya nagkakaroon ng flow ng ating hydrocarbon, which is pag hindi pa po production, problemang malaki yun. Pag drilling operation pa lang yun, problemang malaki kasi dapat hindi pa magflow yung ating hydrocarbon towards that wellbore. So dapat yung ating hydrostatic pressure is greater than. Ang problema natin, yung sabi ko nga, the very challenging dyan is the slightly greater than, walang exact value po. There is no exact value for that slightly greater than to that pore pressure kasi this is a case-to-case basis lang. Nakadepende kung ano yung condition ng ating reservoir. Naiintindihan po ako. So dito, kailan tayo nagkakaroon ng tinatawag na invaded zone or a flash zone? Kung ito po, yung ating pressure difference, once ang ating hydrostatic pressure, can cause this mud filtrate, to penetrate or to invade that permeable formations. Hindi rin practical or hindi rin maganda kung yung ating hydrostatic pressure is mataas at tolerable value niya. Kasi ang mangyayari po dyan, it will help that mud filtrate to penetrate farther sa ating mga permeable formations, and that is formation damage. Tatandaan po natin, mud loss or circulation loss nating tinatawag, same as blowout, parehas po ang resulta niyan, yung ending niyan is formation damage na dapat nating iniiwasan. Kaya ang ating goal dito is balanced. Naiintindihan po natin, balanced lamang. Though, dahil nga, 'di ba, sa rule na ito na yung ating hydrostatic pressure must be slightly greater than, nangyayari po itong mud filtrate natin enters the formation. Kasi syempre mas mataas siya eh. Ang solid particles po, kung mapapansin natin sa ating diagram, no, may mud cake dyan. Yan po yung mga solid particles from our drilling fluid na nale-left behind, na iiwan doon sa borehole wall po natin. Parang, familiar po kayo sa term na parang pinapalitadahan niya. Parang siya, naiiwan siya doon, na ano siya, kung itong borehole wall natin, naiiwan lang siya doon kasi solid particles siya, siyang nagsasara doon sa permeable area natin, while that mud filtrate, the liquid part of our drilling fluid, will further, iiwanan yun ng solid part, siya ay magpe-penetrate sa ating formation. Yun ang nagkukos ng flash, nagkikreate ng flash zone natin near the wellbore. Kaya po sa ating invasion profile, yung zone the closest na zone closest to your wellbore, yan po ang tawag natin is flash zone or the invaded zone because of this mud filtrate. Naiintindihan po natin? Naiintindihan po natin yan. Ang mud cake, hindi lahat yan problema. Magiging problema lang yan kung severe ang nag-create mo na mud cake, yung thickness niya. Bakit? Somehow, ito pong formation ng mud cake natin can help to limit that further filtrate invasion and pwede niyang ma-stabilize yung ating wellbore. Huwag lang sabi ko ngang sobra kasi lahat ng sobra ay pangit. No? So, siya pong kaya may ano yan, meron kang tolerable thickness lang ng yung mud cake dapat. Beyond that tolerable thickness, problema mo ng malaki yan. Ang pipigilan natin, yun nakakatulong ang mud cake natin. Kasi dahil napalitadahan na yan, yung kung ano mang dadaan pa ulit na drilling fluid mo, hindi na makakapenetrate yung ating mud filtrate. No? So, ma-stabilize niya. However, sabi ko nga, yung filtrate invasion natin, nakakapag-alter po kasi yan ng ating formation properties. Kaya kung mapapansin ninyo dito, sa next ano po natin, yan. Na, ito po, imagine niyo ito yung ating borehole. Ayan, this is our borehole. Na imagine niyo po yung ginuguhitan kong yan. Nakikita niyo po? Yes or no? Nakikita niyo po yung guhit kong yan. Okay. So ito pong borehole natin. Yung zone po na ito, the closest no, sa ating borehole, that is the invaded zone or the flash. Meaning, all parameters, lalo na yung resistivity po na nandyan, yan po ay hindi resistivity ng ating formation. Yan po ay resistivity lamang ng ating drilling fluid, ng ating invading fluid na inalter na po niya yung original resistivity na meron tayo sa formation natin. That's why sa ating figure 1, as you can see, na po kung ito yung ating wellbore, na po ito yung ating flash or the invaded zone, ang resistivity po ng ating RXO na yan, meaning that is the total resistivity of your flash zone. Ang X sub XO po, that is a flash zone or invaded zone, referring to that zone. So kabilang na dyan yung resistivity ng ating mud cake, no, ng ating resistivity ng ating drilling fluid. Naiintindihan po? Questions? May tanong po. So, yun ang nangyayari sa atin. Nagkakaroon tayo ng flash zone because of that mud filtrate. Nasabi ko nga, that mud filtrate, no, near the wellbore, that mud filtrate, no, once invade, no, our formation, it alters the formation properties near that wellbore, creating that flash zone or this invaded zone with altered fluid composition and resistivity, as you can see in our resistivity profile. So, it has a great importance, no, sa atin ng mga engineers na aware po tayo sa drilling properties natin. Na? Kasi pag tayo mag-interpret, na para maiwasan natin yung error sa ating reading. Na po. So, dito natin makikita na, and dito na yung magka-create na, of course, next zone po dyan, yung ating transition zone. As you can see here sa transition zone, ano po na yan, gradual, magkakaroon ng gradual change na yung invasion niyan, magiging less complete. Though, hindi pa 100% na wala ng trace ang iyong properties na na-alter ng ating invading fluids. So, meron dyan na gradual transition from mud filtrate saturation to the original formation water saturation. While dun po sa uninvaded zone or that virgin zone natin or the true zone natin, no? Doon natin, kasi ang tawag doon, undisturbed na siya. Siya yung depth of investigation natin that beyond the transition zone. Makikita naman natin sa figure natin kanina na po ito beyond the transition zone, no? Ito kasi ang ating uninvaded. So dito makikita niyo the true resistivity, the total resistivity na yan R sub T. Dito niyo na makikita yung saturation of your fluid, the resistivity of your oil, resistivity of your water, resistivity of kung ano mang fluid meron ka. The true values na to. So as you can see here, yan sa ating figure 4. Makikita natin ang profile natin from this na mababa kasi sa ating resistivity profile. But then, pag yan ay nasa undisturbed ka na, malinaw na po yan na makikita natin yung resistivity profile natin parang going flat na po. Na pa. So, sa uninvaded, of course, sabi ko nga, natural state na yan, unaffected by our mud filtrate, and it contains the original fluids natin in their natural state. So yun po yung target natin. The zone, no, is the target for determining the fluid types and quantities of our interpretation. No, quantities, the true values natin dyan. Questions po? Pinapakita lang po dyan sa ating resistivity profile na in every zone, no, yung transition po, variation in electrical resistivity measurements at different depth around, no, ito po ay nagre-represent, ito yung ating wellbore, yung depth of investigation na lagi is pag ganun, away, no, palayo sa ating borehole. Lagi po yan. Wait lang, kakapalan ko nga ng konti. Yan. Palayo po lagi. Itong borehole diameter natin, going here, yung tinatawag nating depth of investigation. Hindi po pa ganyan. That is the true vertical depth. Pero pag ang pinag-usapan natin is depth of investigation from your wellbore diameter, sa gitna po lagi yan, ng ating wellbore diameter mag-start going there. Palayo. Naiintindihan? Doon ang mini-measure ng ating mga well-logging tools. Yung pa-lateral. Hindi yung pagayon. Kasi yung pagayon, iba-iba po yung lithology mo na yan. Different types. While, halimbawa, sa area na to, this is shale, yung pagano ng shale, sand, pagano ng sand. Kuha po natin. That is the depth of investigation and it really matters. No? Hindi pwede natin yan. So ano ba ang pakinabang natin sa resistivity profile natin? Oy, alalahanin po natin. Yun ang tutulong sa atin to distinguish between zones influenced by this mud invasion and true formation properties natin. Katulad sa ating figure 1, no, ang water-based mud natin invading a water-bearing zone, meaning kung pinapakita sa figure 1 natin, ang ating resistivity ng ating water or formation natin dyan is less than to that resistivity of mud filtrate. In this case, na po, yung ating formation water has low resistivity. No? So, ang invasion of that water-based mud increases resistivity in the flash zone because of that mud filtrate po, na mas resistive naman siya than the formation water. Mas mataas po. Na? So, sa figure 2 naman dyan, pinapakita dyan na yung na-invade na, na-displace yung ating hydrocarbon. Masakit kasi sa tenga. Na? Yung ating mababa yung ating resistivity because of that conductive water-based mud with an uninvaded zone na maintain niya yung high resistivity. So, simple as yung ating resistivity profile lang, no? Ini-illustrate lang po niya yung different fluid types and mud systems natin that can affect our logging interpretation results. And, of course, must be interpreted carefully, no, to understand the formation's true properties. Nagmamatter ang resistivity natin during fluid saturation, computation ng ating fluid saturation, di ba? So, napakalaking sabi ko nga, importante ito na maintindihan natin dahil siya, no, yung kayang makapagbigay sa atin ng information about that math systems, no, and possible impact, no, during our interpretation, and dapat yun naiintindihan nating maigi. Questions po? Okay, pwede pa tayong makadagdag. Now, ito na. Ang goal natin, no, sabi ko, paulit-ulit lang tayo dito na ang goal natin during interpretation, yung objective natin, wala tayong ibang gusto, kauna-unahang gusto natin dito during open hole log interpretation is to estimate this hydrocarbon volume in place. Kasi siya lang yung makakapagsabi sa atin kung commercial viable yan, no? Kung mapagkakakitaan natin yung area na yan or hindi. So, during estimation of this hydrocarbon in place or this original oil in place, original gas in place natin, it involves, no, determining the amount, no, of that hydrocarbon per unit volume of our rock and scaling in the entire reservoir. So meaning, as you can see sa ating equation, the HCIP that is equal to the reservoir volume or the aerial geometry mo times sa net over gross mo, kasi sabi ko hindi naman kabuuan ng iyong reservoir na yan, no, yung volume ng iyong reservoir ay naglalaman ng hydrocarbon mo. So that's why you need to consider the net over gross na amount na yan times the porosity niya, no, times hydrocarbon saturation, which is that is equal to yung ating, kung mapapansin natin, ito po yung ating hydrocarbon saturation. Pero ang ginawa dito, para malaman natin yung hydrocarbon saturation, 1 minus water saturation. Bakit? Ano ang sinasabi po sa total saturation natin? The S sub T must be equal to what? Napahaba ko. 1 or 100, right? Kasi yan, ang total saturation natin is saturation of gas, saturation of oil, and saturation of water, or saturation of water and saturation of your hydrocarbon. Meaning yung 1 na yan, that is the total, representing the total fluid saturation mo. Bawasan mo ng water saturation mo na ito, na S sub W, ang remaining mo, that is hydrocarbon saturation. Kaya kung ikaw ang during your quantitative analysis, unahin mo na agad yung water saturation mo. Kasi ang matitira dyan, mapa-oil man yan or mapa-gas, still, that is hydrocarbon. Unlike kung unahin mo is oil saturation, ay ang matitira, hindi ka pa sigurado kung gas or water. So, that is the overall hydrocarbon volume in place natin. So, ang kinakailangan natin dyan para ma-achieve natin, no, this estimation, unang-una, gagamit tayo ng mga saturation equations. Katulad niyan, the porosity measurements. Ano po? So, combining these open hole logs, no, with our surface seismic data, kayang-kaya natin pong magawa ang ating estimation of this total volume reservoir natin in place. No? So, dito po, para magawa natin ito, yung volume, hydrocarbon volume in place, kinakailangan natin ang ating different logging tools, measurement na po. And kinakailangan muna natin itong ma-determine. Yan ang mga yan. Una, lithology, size of your reservoir, porosity, hydrocarbon saturation, hydrocarbon type, and permeability. Ito po ang kinakailangan natin, no, during open hole log interpretation, na po, to determine this or to estimate the HCIP natin. So ano po ba yung mga yan? Lithology, size, ano po ba yung mga pwede natin gamitin? No, sa lithology, no, during log interpretation, during open hole log interpretation, na kinakailangan natin yung mga, sabi ko, data no, na makakapagbigay sa atin ng idea about lithology. So in identifying the lithology or these rock types present in that formation natin, again, no, helps in understanding the geological history, not only the specific type of our reservoir, but yung kanyang geological history, its formation, its kung ano man ang depositional environment niya, bakit? Para maiintindihan nating mainam kung bakit ganun ang naging property niya at kung merong changes, kung ano man ang ating magiging i-apply na mga proseso sa kanya, ano possible ang maging expand niya. Na po, for example, sa hydraulic fracturing or ato ba ang kinakailangan niya is acidizing or hydraulic fracturing to improve ng permeability natin pag tayo ay magre-recover na, usually sa mga non-conventional reservoir. Na po, so nakadepende na kung which or kung anong specific reservoir type mo. Ikaw ba ay nasa plastic or carbonates? Doon mo agad malalaman. So, kinakailangan pa rin natin yung geological history and the properties of the reservoir. That's why it is great importance po na kinakailangan nating alamin yung lithology. Sabi ko, not as simple as rock type. Hindi lang mang doon natatapos sa rock type. Size of our reservoir. No? Ang logic lagi kong sinasabi sa inyo, kung ikaw ay may 1 galon na container mo, huwag kang mag-expect na more than to 1 gallon no, ang marirecover mo dyan. No? So the size of your reservoir, estimating the dimensions of this reservoir, as you can see sa ating equation na po kanina, ayan sa ating equation, ito po yan ang size ng ating reservoir volume. Na po, napaka-importante natin. Na? So, kinakailangan natin yan, no, yung dimension ng ating reservoir, including yung thickness at saka yung lateral extent, no, para lang ma-evaluate natin yung potential production capacity. Maliban sa porosity, ang porosity, yun ang makapagbigay na ng exact na void space na meron sa ating rock. No? So, this will indicate, yun ang porosity kasi natin, yung magiging indicator natin how much fluid nasa formation natin na pwede nating ma-store. So, katulad din ng size of reservoir, siya yung makakapagbigay sa atin. Kasi kumaga ang size, para mas ma-appreciate ninyo, yung size ng reservoir na yan, parang sa isang classroom, gaano kalaki ang isang classroom. Ilang upuan ang pwede kong maisilid sa isang classroom na yan, which ang mga upuan na yon yung nagre-represent sa ating pores or the void spaces natin na pwedeng maupuan ng mga students. And the students, yun ang pwedeng mag-represent ng ating fluids. Nakukuha po natin. Yun. So, not only for that, porosity but also yung size ng ating reservoir. Na? So sa porosity natin, yun ang crucial naman para ma-determine natin yung kakayanan niya na to hold that hydrocarbon fluids. And then, hydrocarbon saturation. Yun naman, siya na yung nakapagbigay sa atin ng specific proportion ng ating pore space kung saan ino-occupy ng ating specific fluids. Kung siya ay ilan ang hydrocarbon, ilan ang sa water lamang. So, it provide the insights about the reservoir's productivity. Sa hydrocarbon type, no, yan, once alam na natin kung anong present dyan sa ating reservoir specific type of fluid, it will help us to aid in determining the most effective extraction methods. Alalahanin po natin, ang behavior ng bawat fluid magkaiba. Expect natin during production may water at water talaga tayong maano, but that amount of water must be negligible enough sa volume ng ating hydrocarbon. No? Kasi ang water yan ay during primary, yan pang makakatulong sa ating hydrocarbon. Na po. Nakukuha po natin. Papara tayo ha. Race, pag medyo may malabo, huwag pong mahihiya. Magtanong. May tanong po ba? Clarification? Mabilis? Or okay lang? Sakto lang? Baka sabihin si ma'am naman parang hinahabol naman ng kabayo. Naka Rolls Royce ako. So, itawa na lang natin ang frustration natin sa paligid. Ay, nakabuhay. Okay. Going back. Magpasa pa para kayo ha. Huwag kayong mahihiya na magtanong. So, kinakailangan po natin yon, the most effective extraction methods. Kasi sabi ko, iba-ibang behavior yan. Tulad din sa inyo, kung kayo ang fluid na nagre-represent, sabi ko nga, di ba, kung kayo ang magre-represent kayo, may kanya-kanyang behavior, may kanya-kanyang kapasidad kayo. So, iba-iba yung bilis ng learning ninyo na makapag-adapt, or sabi nga natin, yung pagkatuto ninyo. So, dapat alam natin na yung effective extraction sa ating hydrocarbon, kung siya ay pati hindi lang doon sa extraction method, but of course, sabi ko yung surface facilities na gagamitin natin up to distribution, nakadepende sa hydrocarbon type. What specific separator? Na that's a big question. Kasi afterwards, na maiproduce mo yan to the surface, separator ang sasalo sa kanya. Diba? Separator yan. Kailangan mo ba ay one phase or single phase separator, two phase separator, three phase, ilang stages, that's it. Nakadepende doon sa hydrocarbon type. And permeability, again, that is a reservoir rock property na siya naman yung nakaka-influence sa flow rates natin and production efficiency natin. So, again, sa lahat ng ito, kinakailangan natin ito. Hindi pwedeng may mawala sa isa sa mga ito. Uulitin ko, itong makakatulong sa atin to make an informed decisions regarding reservoir management, exploration, and production strategies. Questions po? Kung may 7 minutes pa, please bear with me po. Tapos kung hanggat kaya pa natin. Okay lang? So, dito, meron po tayong, unahin natin yung lithology. Kasi sabi nga natin dito ay, first, we need to determine, diba? We need to determine lithology para makita natin muna bago tayo makapag-estimate ng ating hydrocarbon in place, 'di ba? So, unahin natin isa sa mga tool na pwede nating gamitin para malaman natin yung lithology, itong natural gamma ray. The NGR, the specific or same as gamma ray logs. Yung family ng ating mga gamma ray logs. Kasi mayroon pa tayong spectral gamma ray. Yan. Dito ang binigay lang is natural gamma ray. Pero almost all the gamma ray logs can be used to determine lithology. Magkakaiba nga lang yung kakayanan nila. So in this discussion, we will try to use this gamma ray or natural gamma ray. But in general, gamma ray logs is presented like this. Sa track natin. Minsan kalimitan sila nakikita sa track 2, track 3. No, track 2, track 3. Track 1, rather, track 1 and track 2 ng ating logs. So, ano po napapansin natin dyan? Sa napanood ninyo, yung sinasabi, paano naman nito yung principle ng measurement nito. Sige nga, pahapyawan natin. Since this is only an overview, so hihimay naman natin yan sa chapter 4. Any idea how this tool, gagamitin natin, how this tool is being used to determine this lithology? Ano po ba yung principle ng measurement nito? Sa napanood ninyo, may na-discuss ba doon? Ang inyong professor si Richard Lau. Okay, Miss Ulamit?
Based po dun sa video, ang sabi po sa gamma ray log, it measures intensity of naturally occurring gamma ray emissions, and it contains scintillation counter, which shale is high gamma ray emissions, sandstone, limestone, reservoir rock, low gamma ray emissions, and It indicates bed boundaries between shale and reservoir rock and used with spontaneous potential to assure accurate lithology identification because salty mud water can obscure results po.
Okay, thank you for that, Miss Olamit. Which is that is correct. Ano po? Ang principle po nito, ang ating gamma ray, ang minimeasure po niyan is yung ating natural gamma ray emitted by our rock formation. Yung natural natin na sabi nga natin, ini-emit. No, ano ba yung mga radioactive kaninang nabanggit ko? No, andun yung ating the TH, thorium, uranium, and potassium, which is yun yung natural radioactive na meron sa ating rock formation. As you can see here, na po sa ating figure, sa ating earth crust daw po kasi yan, meron tayong naturally occurring elements na nag-undergo ng tinatawag nating radioactive decay. No, familiar kayo, hindi ko lang specific kung anong inyong pag-aralan before na ito ay posibleng na-discuss, no? So ito sa earth crust natin, no, once this radioactive decay occurs na po, mag-i-emit yan ng tatlong gamma rays, radioactive, mag-i-emit yan ng alpha, ng beta, and ng gamma rays. And yung atomic nuclei ng ito ay magdi-disintegrate. But sa tatlong ito, no, sa tatlong emissions na po ito lang nag-iisang gamma ray natin, no, yung kayang mag-penetrate sa ating rock formations to a significant depth na pwede nating gamiting valuable indicator for this lithology for that subsurface analysis. So doon na discover kumbaga ng developer nito na okay, we can use that gamma ray readings, no, na ini-emit ng ating mineral, which is sa ating mga mineral, yan yung once siya ay clay, rich in clay, yan siya po ang may mataas na reflection ng ating mga gamma rays. Sila particularly, no, sila po yung may mataas na radioactive elements. Kasi doon nagko-concentrate sa ating clay and shale deposits. So we all know naman po, once mataas yung clay content, mostly po ay shale type of rock natin. Naiintindihan po. So, dito, nagiging indicator siya. Ginagamit kalimitan. Actually, sa quick look analysis natin, ang titingnan lang natin yan is shale sand. Halos ganyan lang, wala kang ibang halos ng bato, kundi basta't non-reservoir and reservoir rock. Pag non-reservoir, shale. Pag reservoir, that is sand. Saka mo po problemahin kung what specific lithology na yan. Pero in general, yan lang po halos ang nakikita mo, no? So, ito po mga radioactive elements na yun yung mag-i-emit, ay yun ang ma-detect ng ating mga detectors ng ating tool. So, the higher the gamma ray readings means high shaliness or clay content. Pagtaas ng iyong gamma ray, no, readings, meaning yan ay non-reservoir. So, pwede natin gamitin ito to determine that specific lithology. Katulad ng pinapakita po natin sa ating first figure, ayan, meron tayong shale, may shaly sand, may clean sand, may shale. So, dito, nakikita po natin ang binibilugan ko. Ito ay 0. This is the scale. Ang deflection natin yan going left kasi mag-ano tayo sa mid, ilan to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kung ating gagawan ito ng cut-off line, andito po yan ang cut-off line natin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is the cut-off line natin. Kung dito sa pangalawa, mapapansin natin ito yung blue line, this is the cut-off line, CO natin. Naiintindihan po? Kailangan natin mag-establish ng shale line at saka ng sand line. When we say sand line, meaning that is 0% shale. Pag shale line, of course, 100% shale, and kinakailangan natin ng cut-off line para siya nasa middle ng ating sand line and ng shale line. During interpretation, tayo po ang mag-i-establish niyan. Walang ibang mag-i-establish niyan, kundi tayo. So, katulad dito, kung ito ay 0, yung scale, and 100, yan po yung ating una, itong shale line. Mapapansin naman natin, this is the shale line. Yung green na yan, and this is the sand line, the 0. Yung yellow line na yan, that is the 0% shale. So, meaning yung mga deflection from this cut-off line, no, going to that left, that is your reservoir rock. Kasi sila ang may low gamma reading using this gamma ray natin. Naiintindihan po? Yung going to right, no, deflection ng iyong tool from that cut-off line up to ma-reach niya. Kung hindi man niya ma-reach, basta up to that maximum shale line na na-established mo. Meaning those are the non-reservoir rock. As you can see here, sa depth na to, from 1,800 to 1,808, so extend natin, that is your shale line, or is shale formation. Based on that GR log, no, mataas ang reading mo. Katulad niyan, halos nasa 90. Ang ating reading ko is in API, GAPI, gamma ray reading. Naiintindihan po natin? Simple as that. While, sabi ko nga kanina, yung left, no? Yung left na nasa GR, yung reading, basta syempre mag-start ka sa iyong cut-off line. From that cut-off line, ang deflection mo going to left, no, pababa ng scale ng iyong gamma ray, low reading in gamma ray, that is your reservoir rock. As you can see here po, yan. Sa depth from 1,808 up to, kung ating extend this one, halos dito na, that is 1,816. Ikaw ay may reservoir, and so on and so forth. Questions? May tanong? Uy, time na pala, hindi niyo ako sinabihan. Nag-aantay ng isang section sa akin sa kabila. Okay, so we will continue this discussion next meeting, but una po, mag-quiz muna tayo chapters 1, 2, and 3. Ito na po, mag-advance na kayo. Advanced study na sa chapter 3. First quiz next meeting ha. Mag-quiz muna tayo bago mag-lecture ulit. Okay, sige, you may go na po. Nag-aantay na sa akin sa kabilang meet yung isang section. Bye-bye.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Oh, 10:04 na pala. Keep safe.